Well, good morning. I'm Dan DeRosa with 19 News, coming to you from our digital desk. It is Thursday. That means it's time for Cuyahoga's Most Wanted, another set of fugitives that could be on our street right now, innocent until proven guilty, but we need them in a court of law. They're answering to some serious charges. We've got yet another suspect wanted in a murder case today. Just keeping our streets a little bit safer, one fugitive at a time. As we do every week, let's welcome in Detective Red Dyer from the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. Detective, how are you today?
Doing excellent, Dan. How about yourself?
It's great to have you back. Yet another three fugitives. I feel like we're never going to run out of individuals we can feature here. Red, you like to remind people why this cooperation, why Channel 19 has teamed up with Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County. Why is this so important?
Well, Dan, we here at Crime Stoppers and at the Sheriff's Department recognize the value in our community, the eyes and ears of our community. It gives us the opportunity to work with you to help make our streets safer. It builds that community trust, and it opens up the opportunity for the community to also earn a potential reward.
Yeah, the idea of these individuals who are wanted, most of them for extremely serious crimes. They run the gamut here at Cuyahoga's Most Wanted, everything from child abuse to domestic violence to rape to murder. And it is a chance to make our streets just a little bit safer, one fugitive at a time. Let's get to our first case today, Red. What do we know about Mauricia Burton?
Well, Dan, what we know is in May of this year, Miss Burton actually pled guilty to discharging a firearm at or near a prohibited premises and domestic violence. According to reports, in February of 2023, she shot from a moving vehicle in the direction of the victims. We're talking about a very dangerous situation. Officers actually observed her vehicle and conducted a traffic stop. She also threw a loaded handgun from the vehicle, which officers did recover. She also has warrants with Portage County Sheriff's Department for a probation violation and Bedford Heights and Walton Hills for failure to appear and contempt of court. She failed to appear on probation in this specific case, and a warrant was issued for her arrest. She's approximately 5'7" and 290 pounds and was last known to be staying in the 7800 block of Garden Valley in the city of Cleveland.
And for our viewers, some of the charges can sound a little bit technical, especially when it is discharge of a firearm on or near a prohibited premise. That can be firing a gun from a vehicle. That can be firing a gun in a school zone. There's a lot of different areas that fall under that. Just makes it sound like a confusing charge. Red, let's get to our second fugitive today, Mahat Banan. What do we know?
Well, Dan, as we've seen before, this is an individual that is required to register with the Sheriff's Department as a sex offender. Mr. Banan actually has two warrants with the Sheriff's Department. In one case, he failed to register as a Tier 3 offender in March, and the Sex Offender Registration Unit, very talented investigators over there, opened up an investigation. He's required to register due to a 2009 guilty plea to sexual battery. And according to the Sex Offender Registry, Dan, the victim was under 13 years of age, not something that we want to hear. In his second case, which occurred in February of this year, it's alleged that he stole items from a local business and was found to have a trash bag full of merchandise when located by the police. He has a criminal history with the Sheriff's Department dating back to 2001, so he's no stranger to police, Dan, and actually has a warrant with the Adult Parole Authority and should be considered a violator at large. He's 6 foot tall and 240 pounds and was last known to be staying in the 1200 block of East 61st Street in Cleveland.
That sex offender registry list is so important, and when criminals are not updating their information with their sheriff's department, warrants get put out so that list can be updated. Let's get to our third and final fugitive. This is somebody we have seen on Cuyahoga's Most Wanted before. Anytime Crime Stoppers has us refeature an individual, it's because this is someone they want off the street and in a courtroom. Let's get to the case of Deontay Freeman, but before we do, Red, let's talk about being a co-defendant. What does that mean, and why is it important to have everyone in custody?
Well, Dan, it's most beneficial to proceed with both co-defendants in custody. We do currently have one of the defendants in custody on this case, and Mr. Freeman's the next person that we need so that this case can move forward smoothly.
Yeah, so let's get to it. Deontay Freeman, what do we know?
Well, Dan, what we know is that Mr. Freeman is actually a co-defendant in a murder that occurred in Warrensville Heights. In January of this year, it's alleged that the victim went to visit Freeman and the co-defendant, Mr. Mims Jr., at a residence in Warrensville Heights. Upon leaving the residence, both men approached the victim, who was seated in his car, and attempted to rob him. The victim ended up getting shot and killed during this incident. The passenger of the vehicle also sustained non-life threatening injuries. So we're talking about someone who's potentially very dangerous to have on our streets and should be considered armed and dangerous. Mr. Freeman also has an additional warrant with the Sheriff's Department for aggravated theft. And as I said before, his co-defendant is currently in custody. So Crime Stoppers is seeking any information that can lead to the arrest of Mr. Freeman for these very serious charges. He's approximately 5'5" and 160 pounds and was last known to be staying in the 3400 block of East 76th Street in Cleveland.
Red, we want people to feel comfortable when they make these phone calls. We get that the street phrase is snitches get stitches. People are afraid to get involved. They think their name is going to end up in some police report, some court record, and that the person they turn in is going to eventually find out it was them who made the call. That's why Crime Stoppers is such an important program, because that won't happen. Explain to people what happens when they do make the call to the tip number.
Well, Dan, whether they call the phone number, whether they use our website or our mobile app, we don't take down any of your information. None of your personal information is ever exchanged with us. We don't have caller ID. We don't record phone calls. Everything that you do through us is referenced through an anonymous tip number.
And it is that anonymous cycle in all of this that should make people feel comfortable. Maybe know where one of these individuals is staying. Maybe they're working under the table. They're getting paid cash under the table so that they don't have to file tax paperwork. That is as simple as it works. You make that call, 216-252-7463. You get to remain anonymous. Red, what I like about the program is when they do call in, they're given a reference number. It's that reference number that they use 45 days later. You call in, you find out if it was your tip that led to the arrest, because you could be eligible for a reward. Detective Red Dyer, when we talk about a reward, you like to remind our viewers of something.
That crime doesn't pay, but Crime Stoppers does.
Crime Stoppers does pay up to a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of any of our 3 fugitives. Detective, you folks do some incredible work over there at Cuyahoga County. Your warrant unit is ready for these calls to come in and get these individuals off our street. Detective, thanks for joining us yet again today. We appreciate it.
It was our pleasure. We appreciate you.
All right, take care, Red. That's going to do it for Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. Again, feel comfortable. It is such an easy phone call to make, and we know how social media works. If you're watching this on Facebook right now, one of our digital platforms, share this video. You may not know who these individuals were, but somebody in your circle of friends might, and that'll help clean up our neighborhoods. And if we have any other breaking news, it'll be here on our digital platforms. Our 11 o'clock news coming up in just about 20 minutes on CW43. And then, of course, our noon news on Channel 19. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. Let's go out and get these fugitives.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media at Cleveland 19 News.